I see a number of the members of the audience wearing the green of St. Patrick's Day. I think it's altogether fitting that we're discussing this bill on St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure most of you know that St. Patrick was a sportsman, an outdoorsman, chased all the snakes out of Ireland. He obviously was outside doing a lot of work with animals. So it's great that we're starting this important bill on an important day. This legislation represents years of hard work by the sporting community, and I am appreciative of the efforts that have gone into crafting what is a collection of bills that have demonstrated broad bipartisan support over the years, including measures that enjoy the support of the Obama administration. I am hopeful that in this Congress we will be able to take these long efforts across the finish line, because doing so means more opportunities for America's sporting community and, importantly, more dollars for wildlife conservation. Specifically, S659 would codify an existing exemption that would exclude the EPA from regulating lead fishing tackle and ammunition, provide the states greater ability to use Pittman-Robertson funding for shooting ranges on public lands, allow the Secretary of Interior to issue permits to 41 hunters, including 2 Alaskans, so that they can import their legally taken polar bear trophies from Canada, ensure farmers are not cited for illegally baiting when hunting birds from their farm fields, allow the possession of firearms at water resource development projects, reauthorize the North American Wetlands Conservation Act, reauthorize 5 multinational species conservation funds, and extend Pittman-Robertson Wildlife Restoration Act interest payments. This morning, I know we're going to hear many positive things about the bill. We'll also probably hear a few criticisms regarding the polar bear and lead ammunition provisions. Here are the facts, the straightforward facts on those provisions. This legislation simply codifies an existing exemption regarding the regulation of lead tackle and ammunition, and in no way restricts the ability of Fish and Wildlife agencies, both at the state and federal levels, from restricting their usage if there is compelling scientific reasons to do so. Further, there are those who may be opposed to amending the Marine Mammal Protection Act to allow for the importation of 41 polar bear trophies from Canada and refer to the language as a loophole. But the intent of Section 4 couldn't be clearer: to allow only those hunters with a legally taken polar bear trophy prior to the 2008 ESA listing to bring those trophies into the U.S. This section reflects drafting changes requested by the Fish and Wildlife Service and has the support of the Obama administration. I hope we won't let these few differences detract from the bipartisan nature of this legislation, which represents the furtherance of the American system of conservation funding, which has funded fish and wildlife conservation for the past 76 years. The hunting and fishing licenses purchased, along with the excise taxes on the equipment sportsmen buy, pay for state fish and wildlife management efforts that benefit both game and non-game species and continue to enhance our nation's sporting heritage. But there's no denying that the greatest source of conservation funding comes from the sporting community themselves. Finally, this bill includes important conservation reauthorizations like the North American Wetlands Conservation Act, Multinational Species Conservation Act, which provide matching grants to organizations, governments, and landowners for projects. Both programs leverage non-federal dollars at a ratio that far exceeds a 1-to-1 match. With our federal deficit now over $18 trillion, our federal debt, it is important that we adequately justify why Congress should continue to appropriate a small but symbolically important amount of taxpayer money to these programs. I hope our witnesses today will help us tell that story. Thank you again for being here, and I look forward to hearing the testimony of our witnesses.